I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. Sure. So then how do you reduce? Very simple. People say, oh, Charlie, how do you stop school shootings? I don't know. How did we stop shootings at baseball games? Because we have armed guards outside of baseball games. That's why.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
My fellow Americans, we must come together to destroy each other. So yeah, Donald Trump came out with a partisan message blaming the left. And let's be real, did we expect anything different? This is what this guy does. The last time Trump delivered a thoughtful message was apparently when he sent a birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein.
In many cases, when I reflect and give my opinion on different topics and current events, I attempt to be very clear about my intentions and reasoning for those opinions. Like many people, I often throw in a disclaimer or two, but as I continue to view the landscape of society and how people interpret opinions, it really doesn't matter what disclaimers you attach to your work. There will always be some ignorant human being suggesting that you declared something opposite of what you actually said. For example, when it comes to the gun debate in the United States of America, most liberal-leaning advocates believe there should be stricter gun requirements, background checks, assault weapons bans, and overall more deliberate restrictions on those who can purchase those weapons. Even though that would be sensible in my opinion, many so-called conservative or right-leaning advocates love to imply that someone is coming for their guns, as if to suggest that someone is going to come into their home and take something from them. In actuality, that is far from what was being suggested. And whether you believe it would be effective or not, it was only an idea to help curb the mass shooting epidemic in the United States. Too many of our children continue to be killed while they're praying or learning in schools. With that being said, today, everyone is all riled up about the murder of Charlie Kirk. I'm not what you would call a religious person, so I don't do the thoughts and prayer stuff that I personally believe does nothing in service of those who pass away, especially under terrible circumstances or conditions. Even if I did, in all honesty, I don't believe Charlie Kirk would be a person I would offer thoughts and prayers to. You see, there is a serious and deliberate misinformation campaign going on now that this man has been murdered. If you have watched any of my previous videos, you would know that I only condone taking lethal action against someone if you truly have no choice or in defense of women and children, if desperately necessary. Otherwise, I see no need to take the life of anyone. Without having a suspect in custody, without knowing exactly why Charlie Kirk was murdered, right-leaning advocates and even some left-leaning advocates automatically went online to say that he was simply killed for his views and opinions. That simple fact alone is some of the most ignorant shit in the world that poisons the minds of the masses.
They realize they lost the debate entirely, so they have to resort to violence. And contrary to what we're seeing elsewhere and online, it is not going both ways. It is going one way. It's coming from those aligned with the Democrat Party The hate has been fomented by those in the Democrat Party, and you can probably play hundreds of hours of those clips. It's coming from the media. Some of them are doing a quick course correction and probably scrub their social media feeds for all the things they've said about Charlie, myself, my father over the last few years. But you can't call someone who you disagree with or simply can't win an argument with a Nazi, a fascist, a dictator, a greatest threat to democracy in the history of civilization, and then pretend you had nothing to do with it when the more radical wing, and there does not seem to be all that much difference to me these days, takes up arms and tries to kill those they disagree with. It's not one way. It's not both ways. It is simply one way. And anyone who's saying otherwise, should be thrown off the air.
This shit ends, and enough is enough. And now I have to deal with real safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro-tranny, and just because I want to protect women, that I'm worried about getting murdered? Are you fucking kidding me? It's out of control, and enough is enough. And I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to be more vigilant than ever. I'm going to be louder than I've ever been until this shit stops. It's got to stop. And all the security measures, we've taken many security measures leading up to this because of these lunatic trannies. But now, I have police posted outside of my offices in South Carolina. I have employees that are afraid to come to work. I have children who think they're going to get murdered at school. And so it's going to end. And you guys in the press need to be more responsible about this and actually be fair and cover the things that are happening. It's unbelievable what's happening in this country. And, the left and the Democrat Party has allowed this stuff to happen. And I'm fucking sick and tired of it.
Do you know who the shooter is?
No, but we've heard reports privately, and I guess it's being reported out now, some of the anti-fascist, pro-transgender things that were written either inside the rifle or on the ammunition. You might know better than I do. Do you know if they've identified
There's been nothing that has been put in court documents or sworn to at all.
Yeah, we know this is a political assassination, and any theory otherwise is just bullshit and a lie. So I hope that you guys will report on it honestly.
Congresswoman, could I...
You see, there is a difference between sharing your thoughts and beliefs and spreading hatred. Yes, Charlie Kirk was known because of his beliefs and fervent support of 47, but that applies to many people with different opinions on a multitude of topics. The reason Charlie Kirk was polarizing, though, is that he was spreading hate speech and promoting racist ideals. If you don't believe me, just check the tape.
What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that?
I saw a clip somewhere that you were trying to get the officer who murdered George Floyd pardoned, and I just want to know what your reasoning was about that.
Well, George Floyd didn't die because of the police officer. He died largely because of a drug overdose.
But he had his knee on his neck. And we all saw the video.
But the knee on the neck is actually an approved police technique that police departments taught Derek Chauvin to use. Do you know that George Floyd was saying, I couldn't breathe, well before that restraining technique?
So why'd they use the technique if he already couldn't breathe?
Well, because he was actually resisting arrest. According to the medical examiner, he was drug overdosing in real time. That it wasn't because of the police officer, Derek Chauvin, that put his knee on the neck. Our whole country blew up because of this incident, and it was largely based on a lie.
What was the lie?
The lie is that there was a white police officer that went after a black person just because he was black, and it just wasn't true.
Okay, but he killed him. Like, that doesn't...
Well, the county medical examiner disagrees.
So then why did he get sentenced?
Exactly. That's a good
question.
I'm saying it's because it was largely a show trial where actually they were not allowed to submit
what
evidence.
Trial?
A show trial. A show trial is an example where you put people on display or a show for a political purpose or political means, and this is an example of that. Derek Chauvin was not given a fair hearing in this.
Now that this man has been murdered, there is a rush to get everyone to evoke sympathy and humanity into the discourse for a man who didn't offer sympathy or humanity to many different groups of people on this earth. It is an ignorant campaign to try to shame people for feeling exactly what it is they feel when it comes to Charlie Kirk. They lowering flags to have staff and trying to inject this guy into the realm of Dr. King as if he were some type of positive ilk. He's not a hero. He didn't even graduate college. He hasn't been in the armed services. Why is he on Air Force One with the Vice President of the United States of America? It is sickening. He wasn't an elected official or anything like that. And not even 2 months ago, an actual Democratic official was murdered in her home with her husband and her dog. And no one in the White House wanted the lower flags to have staff. And I didn't see the vice president carrying their caskets on Air Force One or Two or whatever force you want to call it. You see, everyone is jumping to conclusions because we all know for a fact that Charlie Kirk was doing demeaning and divisive things at best. They know that the masses will have no sympathy for him because of the energy that this man put out into the universe. Even though it is not okay for anyone to be murdered, no one will care what happens to you when you leave a legacy of hatred. You see, not caring is not equivalent to celebrating either. This push to create a them versus us narrative is part of the reason things like this continue to happen. Republican pundits went straight to the airwaves to declare that Republicans were going to retaliate. The huge problem with that is they don't know anything about the person who committed this horrendous murder. That means they have no idea what his reasoning was. They are automatically trying to make their own supporters angry and violent for an unknown reason. It's the same thing that they tried to do when the attempt on 47's life occurred. They automatically tried to blame it on Democratic propaganda. But it was a man who supported beliefs of Republicans and identified as one of them. This is a continuous cycle that these people continue to perpetuate, but want to shame others into being sympathetic to someone who spews hate speech regularly. It's sickening and it's unrealistic. At the end of the day, nothing will be done to help connect the people or make things better. Immoral and hateful people will continue to push divisive narratives and make millions off of those blinded by ideology and hatred. There will be more people killed by guns today and tomorrow for no true reason. And that is the most ignorant fact of all of this. We see people die and we continue to do nothing about it. Who's next? Deuces.
And I don't celebrate anyone's murder. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be murdered. But I'm overwhelmed to see the nation's flag fly at half-staff for a man who was a proud racist and spent his entire life sowing seeds of division and hatred into this land. And then these hypocrites with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't say anything about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were gunned down in their living room. Tell me that I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who never showed compassion or respect for my life. Y'all, there's nowhere in Bible we are told to honor evil. And I know I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but how you died does not redeem how you lived. Your death does not make you a hero. It does not make you one who should be honored. It does not make you one who should be respected. I can be sorry about your death, but not celebrate your life. You did not live.
Where's the goddamn blood? Where's the